Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joko Siswantoro from University of Surabaya, Indonesia. I would like to present my paper entitled Leaf Geometric Properties Measurement Using Computer Vision System Based on Camera Parameters. And this is the outline of my presentation: introduction, material and method, experimental setup, result and discussion, and the last is conclusion. Introduction. Leaf is the organ of plant that has an important role in converting solar energy into chemical energy in the form of carbohydrate through photosynthesis process. Carbohydrates are used as source of energy for plant growth, and the amount of solar energy absorbed by plant depends on the total area of leaf, which is the sum of its individual leaf area in the plant. In general, area and other geometric properties of leaf, including length, width, and perimeter, are used as agronomic parameter in determining the potential of yield from a plant. That properties are also used to measure plant growth rate and the effect of stress on plant. Traditionally, leaf geometric properties are measured manually by human expert, by using millimeter block paper for area and ruler for length and perimeter, length, width, and perimeter. The manual measurement is simple process, but time consuming, and sometimes the result is inaccurate. Several alternative methods have been proposed by several researchers in the previous research. Some of them using a semi-automatic system, and the other using a fully automatic system. In the semi-automatic system, usually the system use a mathematical model to predict or to estimate the area of the leaf based on length and width that are manually measured by human as input to the model. So the accuracy of the system on the semi-automatic system will also depend on the accuracy of manual measurement of length and width. For fully automatic system, the system uses image processing technique, and combined with object reference, object reference to convert the area of leaf in pixel square to centimeter square. And in some system also needed user intervention in the measurement process. So the using of object reference can be has inaccurate result, can produce inaccurate result in measurement process. And almost all the previous proposed system only focus on area measurement, and the system cannot be used to measure length, width, and perimeter of the leaf. This paper proposes a method for measuring the geometric property of leaf, including area, perimeter, length, and width using computer vision system. And the system employing the ratio of the distance between the point in the real world coordinate system and the image coordinate system to convert the unit of length and area, from pixel to centimeter or from pixel square to centimeter square. This process can be performed using camera parameters, both intrinsic and extrinsic camera parameters. Okay, this is the material, and these are the material that used in the proposed system. Yeah. So the system, the computer vision system, consists of camera and then two flat acrylic board, for image acquisition background, and then computer, to process the captured image and to calculate the area, length, width, and perimeter. And then we use a 9x6 corner flat chessboard pattern for calibration object, to determine intrinsic and extrinsic camera parameters. And to evaluate the proposed system, we use 3 types of leaf with 10 samples of each. This is the step of the proposed method. The proposed method consists of camera calibration, image acquisition, pre-processing, segmentation, rotation, and measurement. This is the camera calibration process. So the chessboard pattern is located at the acrylic board. So we assume this acrylic board is located at plane z equal to 0 in the real world coordinate. And then we employ Zhang method, to perform camera calibration process implemented in OpenCV. The result of this process are intrinsic and extrinsic camera parameters. So this is the result of image acquisition process. So in image acquisition process, the measured leaf is located between 2 flat acrylic board with the distance of about 50 centimeters from the camera. And then the camera capture the image, and the result is an image in JPEG format. And then the image will be processed to measure the geometric properties of the leaf. So this is the examples of captured image. This is for Ipecac, Kailan, and white beetle. The next process is pre-processing. In this step, the original captured image is converted to a grayscale image. So the original image is in RGB color space, red, green, blue color space, and then we convert to grayscale image by using a weighted average of the RGB component. And then we employ a Gaussian filter to remove the noise resulted by camera during image acquisition. The next step is segmentation. The segmentation step is aim to separate the pixel of the object or the leaf with the background pixel. The object pixel will be converted to white pixel in the binary image, and the background will be converted to black pixel in the binary image. Yeah, so the result will be like this. Yeah. Next step is rotation. So the original binary image is rotated such that the major axis and the minor axis of the leaf are parallel to horizontal and vertical axis of the image coordinate. Yeah, so this is the major axis of the leaf parallel to vertical axis of the image, and then the minor axis of the leaf is parallel to horizontal axis of the image. Yeah. Okay. After that, we perform measurement process. Yeah. First, we determine the scale factor that we use to convert area in pixel square to centimeter square, and length, width, and perimeter from pixel to centimeter square. So first, we determine the center of image, yeah, the center of image plane, and then we determine 4 pixels, yeah, 4 pixels with distance 50 pixels from the center of image, yeah, parallel to horizontal and vertical coordinate of image plane. Yeah, so we obtain 4 pixel A, B, C, D. Yeah. After that, by using intrinsic and extrinsic parameters of the camera obtained during camera calibration process, so we reproject, yeah, we reproject pixel or point A, B, C, D to real world coordinate, yeah, to XY plane or Z equal to 0 plane in the real world coordinate using intrinsic and extrinsic camera parameter. So we will obtain point A prime with coordinate x a, y a, 0 in the real world coordinate, and B prime, yeah, xb, yb 0, C prime, xc, yc 0, and D prime, xd, yd 0. Yeah. And then we calculate the distance, yeah, the distance from A to B, A prime to B prime, and C prime to D prime. So this is the distance from A prime to B prime in the real world coordinate, and this is the distance of C prime to D prime in the real world coordinate. Yeah. After that, we divide with the distance of A and B and we add with the distance of C and B. So the distance from the center to A is 50 pixel. So from center to B also 50 pixel. So from A to B is 100 pixel. Yeah. From C to D also 100 pixel. So totally A to B plus C to D is 200 pixel. So this is the scaling factor that we will use to convert length from pixel to centimeters. Yeah. So this is the distance from A to B plus distance from C to D divided by the distance from A to B and C to D in the image coordinate. Yeah. So this is the scaling factor. Okay, after we obtain the scale factor, and we use to approximate, yeah, all geometry property of leaf, yeah. So for area, so the approximation area or APP, yeah, is equal to scale factor square time NA. So NA is the number of leaf pixel or white pixel in binary image, yeah. So this is we count the number of white pixel, and then we multiply with scale factor square, and we have the approximation of area. Yeah. And for perimeter, so we calculate the number of pixel in the contour of leaf in binary image. Yeah. So we count this the number of pixel in this perimeter. So we have NP, and then we multiply with scale factor to obtain the approximation of perimeter. For the approximation of length, yeah, so first we construct a bounding box, yeah, construct a bounding box of the leaf in the binary image, yeah. So we determine the length of bounding box, yeah, in pixel as the length of leaf. So we obtain NL, the length of bounding box in pixel, and we multiply with scale factor to obtain the approximation of length. Yeah. For the approximation of width, yeah, we calculate the width of the bounding box in pixel. Yeah. This is a width of leaf in pixel. So we obtain NW, and then we multiply with SF, scaling factor, to calculate the approximation of width. Yeah. Okay, so this is the length and width measurement process. So this is the result of the proposed system. Yeah. So from three type of leaf, so we can see that the area, the average area for each type of leaf is almost similar. Yeah, this is the exact area. This is the approximate area. Yeah, so we can see this is this and this are very close. Yeah, with the absolute relative error. Yeah, less than 2%, or in total less than of in total the all absolute relative error, the average of absolute relative error is 1.48% for area, and for perimeter, yeah, this is the error, absolute relative error for all samples. Yeah, the average of error for sample for perimeter is 2.27%. Yeah, so very small error. Yeah, for area and perimeter. Yeah, the same thing also for length and width. Yeah, this is the average of exact length, average of exact width. This is the average of approximation length and approximation of width. Yeah, all is the exact and the approximation are very close to each other. Yeah, and produce the absolute relative error for all sample. Yeah, for length is 1.46%, and for width is 1.39%. So very small error. Yeah. So we can conclude that the proposed system is very accurate in measuring area, perimeter, length, and width of the leaf. Yeah. So this is another analysis. So we use coefficient of determination between exact value and approximation value for area, perimeter, length, and width. So we can see in here that the approximation and exact value for all, yeah, there's good linear relationship, yeah, with R square greater than 0.999. Yeah. So this is the close to the approximation, and the exact is close to line Y on the scatter between approximation and exact value close to line Y equal to X. Yeah. Okay. So in the conclusion, a method for measuring the geometric property of leaf using computer vision system is proposed in this paper. The proposed method capture the image of leaf using a calibrated camera from top view with orientation of image plane parallel to the leaf. Yeah. The image was processed to obtain area, perimeter, length, width of leaf in pixel square or pixel. All value were then converted to centimeter square or centimeter using a scale factor determined from camera parameters. The experiment result showed that the proposed method achieved a good measurement result comparing to manual measurement. Yeah. So the exact measurement is obtained by using manual measurement. Yeah. The proposed method only need less than 0.05 seconds to measure all geometric property, yeah, from area, perimeter, length, and width together. So we obtain only in less than 0.05 seconds. In the manual measurement, so to measure area, perimeter, length, and width, we need more 600 seconds for manual measurement. Okay, so this is the conclusion, and thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Vincentius Riandaru Prasetyo and you can call me Vincent. I am from Department of Informatics Engineering, University of Surabaya. Today I will present my research paper with the title Hate Speech Content Detection System on Twitter using K-nearest neighbor method. Okay, first about Twitter user. Yeah. According to Southeast Asia Twitter Communication Lead, Indonesia Twitter user growth is the highest in Southeast Asia, and in 2019 it was ranked 5th in the world as largest Twitter user. Yeah. The use of social media as one of the electronic communication media in Indonesia is regulated by a regulation called the Electronic Information and Transaction Law, or often referred to as the ITE law, or in bahasa UU ITE. However, the implementation of the ITE law has not yet been fully implemented. Yeah, this is because there are many tweets circulating, and the police will only act if they are report that come in. For example, this tweet is a tweet that has been punished, while this tweet has not been punished. the both of this tweet is classified as hate speech. Yeah. So the purpose of this research is to create a system that can prevent hate speech content on Twitter using KNN method. In general, the system will classify incoming tweet into certain label and provide information to the user before the tweet is posted. And why in this research use KNN method? Yeah, the first reason is simple to implement with any programming language because of the many libraries available. The second one is effectively reduce misclassification error if the dataset gets bigger. And the last reason is more effective than other methods such as SVM or support vector machine, neural network, decision tree, and etc. if the class used is more than 3. Yeah. And this is the research method. Yeah, the first step in this research is to collect tweet data related to hate speech in here. Yeah, the tweet data collected are Indonesian language tweets. This data collection uses a crawling technique. In this research, crawling is done using the Twitter API, where this API is provided free by Twitter, which is often used in education, research, and analysis. Each tweet collected will be labeled pasal 156 KUHP or pasal 156A KUHP or pasal 45A ayat 2 junto pasal 28 ayat 2 UU ITE, which indicates the tweet violate certain article or tidak melanggar. The next step is pre-processing. First the tweet will be clean of symbol that often appears, such as hashtag, emoticons, and website links. Next, for pre-processing is case folding, which is changing all letters to lower case. Next, stemming, which is a process to find the basic word of a word that will be implemented using Nassif-Andriani algorithm. Why Nassif-Andriani? Because the research conducted by Wahyudi et al. Concluded that the Nassif-Andriani algorithm gave better result than Porter algorithm. Especially in bahasa Indonesia. Because Nassif-Andriani algorithm created for in bahasa Indonesia. The next step after stemming is stop word removal. This step is used to remove words that have no effect on classification process, such as yang, dari, di, ke, dan, atau, and so on. The last step in pre-processing is tokenization, where sentences are divided into words. Next, feature extraction. For feature extraction, I use TF-IDF. This is the formula of TF-IDF, where TF is term frequency, which is the frequency of occurrence of word or term in a particular document. And then while IDF stand for inverted document frequency, which is the base 10 log, base 10 log value of the number of n document divided by df value, yeah. And then df stand for document frequency, which is the number of document that contain a certain term. Yeah, next is training. The purpose of this process is to train feature data using certain method to create a classification model that can later be used to predict hate speech tweet. The KNN method is used to conduct training. Why KNN? I have explained before. Yeah, and the last evaluation to evaluate the accuracy of the model generated from the training process, a confusion metric is used. Okay, this is about distribution of tweet data. The total tweet data obtained from the crawling process is about 973 tweets. Yeah, and then after the tweet data was obtained, an IT law expert and several research assistants selected the tweet data to discard tweets that were not relevant for this research. And then the total data obtained from this selection process is 276 tweets. Yeah, this one. The total this tweet is 276 tweets, where this data will be further processed by the system. Yeah, some research assistant will manually label the collected tweet data based on guidance from ITE law expert. Yeah, this table show the distribution of tweet data based on the label class of the articles used. Yeah, this table show an example of result of removing symbol and case folding. Yeah, this is the example. Yeah, this is just a sample or example original tweet, and then this is after symbol removal, and then this is after case folding. Next, this table is an example of stemming and stop word removal result. Yeah, this is after case folding from this table, and then this is after stemming, the result after stemming, and then this is the result after stop word removal. Yeah, after the processing is complete, the tweet data will be extracted using TIEF EDF method before the training process begins. Yeah, the system will automatically run the training process after the feature extraction process is complete. After the training process is complete, the system is ready to detect new tweets input by the user. Yeah, this is a sample display of a hate speech content detection system. Yeah, in here, yeah, user can input new tweets that will be detected through the text area provided by the system. Yeah, the detection process will start after the user click check button, and the prediction result will be displayed below in here. Yeah, here it can be seen that the prediction results are displayed in 3 columns. Yeah, the first column contains the inputted tweet, and then the second column contains the detection result, and the last column contains the maximum punishment a user can receive if the tweet contains head speech content. Yeah, the system also provide pause button, which is next to the detection result, where the button serves to post tweets to our Twitter page. Yeah, this is a flowchart of the system. User, yeah, if user post tweet that contain hate speech content, yeah, and then the system will notify to the police cyber unit, and then the police cyber unit conduct investigation. Yeah, this system is still a prototype and has not been widely implemented. Yeah, because it needs approval from Kominfo for wide implementation. Okay, next, this is about model validation. Yeah, model validation aims to get the best accuracy value from the classifier used in this study or in this research. In this case, KNN method. The value of K in KNN method used in the system will be determined through this validation. Yeah, model validation begins by dividing the tweet data into 80% training data and 20% testing data. After that, the system will conduct training using 80% of the training data, followed by testing using 20% of the test data to determine the accuracy of the resulting classifier model. Yeah, this process is repeated. From K1 to K221. The value of K221 is determined based on the total training data used, which is 80% of the 76 data. Yeah, based on the experimental result, the highest accuracy is 67.86%, with a value of K is 10, using testing data of 20% of the total data owned. Okay, this is a confusion metric from the model validation of the KNN method with a value K is 10. Based on this confusion based on this confusion matrix, testing data that was classified correctly amount to 38 tweets. In addition to model validation of the KNN method that use occlusions as a distance metric, model validation is also carried out for other distance metrics, namely Manhattan and cosine. It aims to compare and find out which distance metric has the best accuracy for this study or this research. Based on the experimental results shown in this table, it can be seen that the validation of the KNN method with Manhattan as the distance metric of KNN method produce the highest accuracy of 57.14%, with the K value is 6. Meanwhile, the highest accuracy for cosine as a distant metric in KNN method is same as with Euclidean, but with K value of KNN is 15. Okay, next is user validation. This validation is done by inputting 100 new tweets that are not in the dataset and will be predicted by the system. Yeah, the system prediction result will be directly validated by ITE law expert. Yeah, from the prediction result of 100 tweets that have been made by the system, 77 of them are declared valid. So it can be concluded that the accuracy of the system based on user validation is 77%. Yeah, the difference in accuracy between model validation and user validation lies in the amount of training data used. In model validation, the training process uses data from 80% of the total dataset owned, while on user validation, the training process uses 100% of all the existing data set. This proves that the more data used during the training process, the higher accuracy will be obtained. The last conclusion, the system created is good enough to help prevent hate speech on Twitter. However, the accuracy of the system can be improved in the future by increasing the number and variety of tweet data used in the training process. The process of converting slang word into standard word also needs to be done, so the duplication that duplication of words that have the same meaning can be eliminated. Yeah. Okay, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
My name is Muhammad Farid Naufal. Together with Sofia Ferdinand Kusuma, will present our research with the title Weather Image Classification using Convolutional Neural Network with Transfer Learning. In today's modern era, there are many AI implementations in everyday life, such as self-driving cars, smart transportation system, and outdoor vision systems. Some of these AI implementation require datasets, one of which is weather image. For example, when the self-autonomous driving car can determine when to turn on the fog lights if the weather is foggy, when to activate the wipers and reduce speed when it rains, the use of these applications and systems are intended to inform decisions as well as increase the ability to respond quickly and appropriately to adverse weather in order to reduce or eliminate weather-related crises. We can get information on weather conditions from the internet, such as the web that provides weather forecasts. Yeah, it's like the Weather Channel. But the information is not always the same as the specific location where we are. An area can have different weather conditions, even though they are close together. This is very important if applied to a smart transportation system, because the decisions of a smart transportation really depends on the weather condition in real time at the location of the vehicle. The solution offered in this research is to classify the weather based on the image. The study develops a classification model that can be used to classify weather images. However, this research did not reach the real implementation of the smart transportation system. In the future, this classification model can be applied in real to smart transportation systems. The following are previous studies related to weather classification. It started when El Hosseini et al. In 2015. They used AlexNet and transfer learning, and it reached around 82.2% of accuracy. And it is implemented on these three type of images: hazy, rainy, and snowy. And Kang et al. In 2018, they used GoogleNet, and it reached around 92% of accuracy. And they also used AlexNet, and it reached around 91.1% of accuracy. And the datasets consist of four weather classes. Yeah, they are foggy, rainy, snowy, and sunny. Xia et al. In 2020, they used GoogleNet, and it reached around 86.67% of accuracy. And they also used AlexNet, and it reached around 86.47% of accuracy. And they also use VGG16, and it reached around 84.74% of accuracy. And the types of weather image is sunny and cloudy. The types of these research, the type of this weather image, are sunny and cloudy. And the last one is Notarango et al. In 2021. They use VGG16 and transfer learning, and it reached around 85.28% of accuracy. And they classify the weather into two classes, and they are rain and no rain. This is a comparison of the accuracy of previous studies. Kang et al. Using AlexNet and GoogleNet have high accuracy, which is above 90%. Classification is carried out on four types of weather, namely foggy, rainy, snowy, and sunny. So this research get the best accuracy. Yeah, it's around 92% of accuracy, and it is implemented on four types of weather image: foggy, rainy, snowy, and sunny. So this is the best performance. The existing research gap are several CNN architectures have not been implemented in weather image classification. In previous studies, the transfer learning method was only applied to the AlexNet and VGG16 architectures. No research analyzed the computational time performance of each architecture. This is important because it can be the basis for researchers to choose an architecture that has a good time to performance. The following is an example of weather images that will be classified in this research. There are 6 types of weather images, and namely cloudy. This one is cloudy. This one is sign. This one is foggy, and this one is rain, and this one is snowy, and this one is sunrise. So these are the types of weather image that will be classified in this research. This is the distribution of the number of datasets of each type of weather image. We use datasets that Kaggle and CWS publicly provide. The distribution of data from each type of weather is balanced. So yeah, we use the dataset from Kaggle and also from the Camera as Weather Sensor, or CWS. So this one is the source of this datasets. The first method we propose is to try out more CNN architectures for weather image classification. We use a popular architecture for image classification. We are using a MobileNet version 2 and VGG16, DenseNet 201, and exception. In previous studies, no one has used MobileNet version 2, DenseNet 201, and exception. We use MobileNet version 2 because this architecture is lightweight and has a fast computation time. We use DenseNet 201 and exception because they have a complex architecture and have a good performance based on previous research on image classification. The second method that we propose is to apply transfer learning to speed up the classification process and improve the performance of the CNN architectures. Transfer learning uses pre-trained models that have been previously trained on the ImageNet database. The application of transfer learning causes our model to have a prior knowledge before the training process. Transfer learning is used to perform feature extraction on weather image datasets. The output of transfer learning will be input to two hidden layers, each consisting of 128 and 64 neurons. The output layer uses 6 neurons with a softmax activation function because we are working in the multi-class classification. So yeah, we have a pre-trained model. Then this pre-trained model will be used for classify the weather image. Then the output from the pre-trained model will be inputted to our neural network architecture. The third method we propose is to analyze the computational time of each architecture. No previous research has analyzed the time as a performance metric. However, the computational time is a performance metric that the researcher highly considers because it determines the choice of the computing machine use. The computational time in this study is the total time required by each architecture in conducting the training process using 5-cross validation. The following is our research methodology, starting from the collecting dataset, and then dataset augmentation. Then we will use these 4 architectures. Yeah, we will configure each of the parameter of this architecture. Then we go to the training process and testing process, and finally we will calculate the performance of each architecture. These are the hyperparameters we use in this study. So the architecture, like I was mentioning before, we use MobileNet version 2, VGG16, DenseNet 201, and exception. And for the transfer learning database, we use ImageNet, and the optimizer of all of this architecture, we use ADAM optimizer, and we use categorical cross entropy for the loss function, and the number of epoch is 50. Then the cross validation, we use 5 cross validation, which contains 80% for training, 10% for validation, and 10% for testing. The experiment was carried out on a computer with the following specifications. So we use this computer for execute all of this training and testing process. This is the learning curve of the MobileNet version 2 and VGG16 architectures. MobileNet's accuracy converge at each epoch, like you see right here. But in VGG16, it's not at epoch. I'm sorry. It's when we try to classify using the VGG16. Yeah, it's not a good. It's not good if we compare with the MobileNet. Yeah, in epoch 3 and 4, VGG16 has a poor accuracy. And this is the learning curve of the DenseNet 201 and exception architectures. As a result, DenseNet and exception accuracy converge at each epoch for training and validation datasets. This is a comparison of the accuracy of each architectures used in this study. Exception has the best accuracy, and VGG16 has the worst accuracy, like you see right here. So we can get the 90.22% of accuracy if using exception, but in VGG16 is only 68.35% of accuracy. This one is the comparison of the computational time. Like you see, MobileNet version 2 has the fastest computational time, So yeah, it's around 5 times faster than the exception. So we can conclude that MobileNet version 2 is the best architecture for the computational time performance metrics. So yeah, it's only 200 2483 seconds for doing all of the training and testing process using 5 cross validation. For the summary, if you need an exception has the best accuracy of 90.22% of accuracy, and MobileNet has the fastest computational time of 2,483 seconds. If you need to have a low computing machine, MobileNet version 2 is the best choice. Although the resulting accuracy is 83.51%, MobileNet version 2 has the fastest computing time. If you don't have a problem with the computing engine, then the exception is the best architectural choice. And we also have a 1.78% lower accuracy compared with the Kang et al., the previous studies, but we have 2 more classes to be classified. We have cloudy and sunrise weather image. Compared with the Kang et al., it's only have 4 class of image, 4 class of weather image, but we have 2 more classes to be classified, cloudy and sunrise. And we also analyze the computational time, which can be useful for other researchers. So for the future work, we need to implement more architectures. It's like ResNet 50, ResNet 15, Inception, etc. So there are still many architecture that we have not been tested. So for the future works, it can be tested, and the other architectures can be tested. And we also need to apply the model, the classification model in real-world smart transportation system. Thank you for your attention.
Good morning, my name is Daniel Hari Prasetyo. This paper I present in Insight 2021. The paper title is Implementing Directed Pairwise Judgment Approach in Web-based AHP Survey Application to Reduce the Inconsistency Ratio. This is a part of bigger research about spatial multi-criteria decision analysis in finding suitability area for school location in Surabaya, Indonesia. This paper reside here focus in AHP application in pairwise judgment process. Okay, this phase come after all factors in here already provide and already done with different method here. About the factors from this scheme, we can get a SIG factor, population factor, environment factor, student flow factor, administrative factor, transportation factor, public reference and public preference factor. And the first application already done, it use web-based application and collect opinions from invited government official, school official, researcher, and experts in urban planning. Okay, but in the first application, it got not so good result. This is the problem of this paper. When doing AHP pairwise judgment with 137 respondents, it just got 5% of respondent pairwise judgment with consistency ratio below 0.1 here, just 5% here. And based on SATI, its consistency ratio must lower than 0.1. And this time I was crying, literally crying, because almost 1 year for collecting judgment, but it got inconsistent, big inconsistent ratio. Okay, and this is the problem for this paper. Okay, but inconsistency, if a judges, for example, there is apple and banana, if the judge love banana more, little of banana than apple, and little maybe love apple more than cherry, the consistent ratio when pairing banana and cherry will be the judgment must be very love the banana more than cherry. And if the judgment choose cherry than banana, most like cherry than banana, it will be lead to inconsistent. Okay. Okay, some research already done in handling inconsistency. There is method for estimating missing judgment and for improving consistency by modifying as little as possible Berwick's judgment value. Modifying the value. This one is our research for with different methods for improving consistency by modifying as little as possible Berwick's judgment value. And all method here is doing after the judgment phase. The judgment phase here, after all judgment is corrected, there are computation phase here, and this method actually reset here in the computational phase, and we can get the result. Okay, my proposed method is lies here. The proposed method is set in the judgment phase. When in the judgment phase, we create a new method that take the judge to choose the option that will deliver a consistent choice by disabling the inconsistent option. This one for the scheme, for example, this one apple and banana, the judge love banana, and for apple and cherry, the judge love apple. My method in this paper will be disable the option here, that the option for that lead for inconsistency, like this one, will be disabled when in judgment process Berwick. Process, it will be disabled. Okay, this one, for example, if A is an apple, B is banana, and C is cherry, the method will disable some option here of B and C that can lead to inconsistent based on the relation between AB and AC. It will be disable some option in B and C based on the relation of A and B here and A and C here. And it will need a dependent metric. For example, there's a connection between A and B. This one mostly like very prefer the A, and this one is very prefer the B. 9-1, 7-1, 5-1, etc. This combination present this one, presenting the preparation. Okay, and also the A and C here. This one A very prefer A than C, and this one is the opposite. So if there are, for example, A and B, most A, it's prefer more, very prefer A, and for example A to C also very prefer A. The option will be just this one for B and C. B and C is about the same weak. It can the same weak on little bit like B, on little bit prefer C. Okay, another example, if here, and most, for example, A and C here. Okay, the relation of B and C will be just, there is an option this one, because C is more have to more preferred than B, because A and B more prefer A, and A and C more prefer C. So when the relation B and C, it must this one, C more prefer than B. Okay, this is the independence matrix. And for the action matrix, this one will raise an action when user clicking on filling some option in the Purvis statement. There are 15 Purvis judgment, and this one is the Purvis action. For example, Purvis 1, population vs administrative. If there are adjustment in Purvis 2, adjust Purvis 8. If there is Purvis in Purvis 3, adjust Purvis 7, and so on. And this is the application. I will show you the web application. This one with consistency. Okay, for example, population factor and administrative factor. The judge choose more important is population factor here, and population factor vs transportation. If the judge prefer more transportation factor here, so this one will just the option for Purvis that from administration factor to transportation factor here. Okay, another, for example, this one, it will raise another option here, or this one, for example. Okay, population and administration, population and transportation. So administration and transportation must be the same week, little bit the same week here. It can choose this one, or this one. Okay, and this is the directed Purvis judgment. The method for the directed pairwise judgment process. Next, okay, from after doing the judgment again, redoing again, collected from 147 respondents, the respondent is invited from the old MCDA application, and also the other invited respondent, a new added respondent. This result sometimes still generate inconsistency, but with higher number in the consistency ratio for 0.1 with 65 judgment. This is the comparison between respondent consistency ratio. Red one is without direction. User can choose anything in here, not depend on the another relation. And this one is with direction. We can see with direction have a higher number in consistency, higher number of judgment with consistency ratio 0.1. Okay, more exploration. So this collected judgment already used for the SMCDA research, and more exploration is conducted after the research of SMCDA finish. The researcher want to explore more about the directed persuasion for comparing the time consumption if the judge is forced to finish the pairwise until it consistent. So in the first application and the second application, this one without direction, and this one with direction, the judge is not forced for finish the pairwise until consistent. So the second application is updated with new feature. The choice for respondent, there's a choice for using comparison or for using direction or without using direction. We can see it here. This one tanpa bantuan and pakai bantuan. And after user complete all pairwise comparison, the applicant will calculate the consistency ratio. Will directly calculate the consistency ratio, and the user will get notice whether the comparison is consistent or not. If consistent, they can is not consistent, they will be asked for redoing the comparison until it was consistent. And there is a timekeeper that start when the user open the pairwise comparison page and stop when the comparison is consistent. There are timekeeper here, and the application will directly for example, it will directly calculate the consistency ratio. Okay, I will show the calculation for the consistency ratio. This one. This one is still below the consistency ratio, above consistency ratio, and user must doing another choices here, do another choice for with an, so the consistency ratio will below 0.1. This one in this result use 0.2. And this is the time consumption comparison that shown the after if we use with direction, it will consume a little time here, a little time than without direction. Okay, the conclusion, the pairwise judgment method proposed in this result have got a much higher number of respondent judgment with an accepted consistency ratio. The method was also proven lead a faster time for the user to finish the pairwise judgment process with accepted consistency ratio. Okay. Thank you. If you have a question, you can WhatsApp or email me at this address.